They told us the West had moved beyond religion. They told us faith was fading, that God was no longer needed in a modern world. But in the quiet corners of cities, in the hearts of seekers, something was happening, something no one could ignore anymore. A wave of change was rising, not through violence, not through politics, but through truth. Islam, the faith many misunderstood, feared, and judged, was doing something extraordinary. It was growing, not in the shadows, but in the light. It was thriving in the hearts of people who were once lost, confused, and disillusioned by a world that offered them everything except peace. The question isn't why Islam is growing. The real question is, how did a religion that's been demonized for decades become the very answer millions in the West were searching for? Because when a soil is thirsty for meaning, no amount of technology, wealth, or distractions can satisfy it. People in the West, doctors, athletes, professors, mothers, students, even former priests, are waking up. They're realizing that despite all their success, they are spiritually bankrupt. And in that moment of realization, they turn not to what's trending, not to what's popular, but to what's real. And what they find is Islam, a faith that doesn't just speak to the mind, but pierces the heart. A faith that commands discipline, but gives freedom. A faith that doesn't just ask you to believe, it asks you to live. They come from every walk of life. Some first hear the Qur'an and burst into tears. Others are drawn by the kindness of a Muslim stranger. Many come in anger, hoping to disprove it, only to fall in love with it. Some sit with it for years, others only minutes. But once it touches them, nothing is ever the same. Because Islam doesn't just explain life, it transforms it. It doesn't just answer questions, it rewrites the questions altogether. And what's truly shaking the world is this. People who once hated Islam are now defending it. People who once mocked Muslims now say the Shahada with tears running down their face. Because truth, no matter how buried, always rises. And in a world drowning in confusion, Islam shines like a lighthouse. Why is it growing so fast in the West? It's not the mosques. It's not the media. It's not the preachers. Despair, it's the undeniable power of truth. It's the unmatched clarity of the Qur'an. It's the beauty of the Prophet Muhammad's character. It's the strength of its values in a world that has forgotten what values mean. It's the peace of prayer in a society that's restless. It's the discipline of fasting in a culture obsessed with indulgence. It's the brotherhood of Islam in a world divided by race, class, and politics. It's the voice of God reaching the hearts that had gone deaf from the noise of the world. In prisons, Islam is the fastest growing religion. In universities, Islam is sparking debates. In homes, Islam is bringing families back together. And among the lost, the broken, and even the powerful, it's bringing them to their knees in front of the one who created them. You see, Islam is not spreading through swords or force. It's spreading through souls. It's spreading through silent revolutions taking place in the hearts of people who are tired of chasing illusions. Some say it's just a phase, but a phase doesn't last over 400 years. A phase doesn't make people give up luxury for prayer. A phase doesn't make people cry out of joy when they touch the Qur'an. A phase doesn't change the lives of ex-criminals, celebrities, atheists, and politicians. A phase doesn't make you fall in love with a man who lived centuries ago. Muhammad, peace be upon him, whom you've never seen, but whose character feels like a homecoming for your heart. The West isn't losing its people to Islam. The West is finding its people through Islam, because for the first time, many are realizing that God was never far. That religion wasn't the problem. It was the solution they were too busy to see. And once they see it, they can't unsee it. The fastest growing religion in the West isn't the one with the best marketing, the biggest buildings, or the most celebrities. It's the one with the purest message. La ilaha illallah. There is no God but Allah. It's simple, it's powerful, it's life-changing. Every conversion tells a story. A woman in Paris who used to model now covers herself with honor. A former Marine in Texas who once invaded Muslim lands now defends the Qur'an. A teenager in London who struggled with depression finds peace on a prayer mat. A businessman in Canada who had everything the world could offer gives it all up just to feel a moment of sujud. These are not isolated stories. These are waves in a sea of change. Islam isn't growing because of us. It's growing despite us. Because Allah promised to preserve His light, no matter who tries to extinguish it. And this light is now reaching hearts that never expected it. It's spreading through conversations, through actions, through dreams. Yes, dreams. So many are dreaming of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. So many are seeing verses of the Qur'an in their sleep. And when they wake, they can no longer deny what their soul already knows. People in the West are tired. Tired of lies. Tired of fake smiles. Tired of shallow lives. Islam offers them depth. Islam offers them dignity. Islam offers them purpose. It doesn't sugarcoat life. It prepares you for it. It doesn't tell you what you want to hear. It tells you what you need to hear. It doesn't ask you to follow your desires. It asks you to master them. And that's why it's growing. Because people are not just looking for comfort. They're looking for truth. And Islam delivers it. So they try to ban the hijab. It grows stronger. They try to mock the Prophet. His followers grow in love. They try to twist the Quran. People read it for themselves. Every attempt to silence Islam only amplifies its voice. Every attack on it pushes more people to explore it. And once they explore it with an open heart, they can't go back. They see Muslims pray in the streets and they're confused. Why would anyone bow their head to the ground in public? But then they try it. And they weep. They hear the call to prayer and they wonder what it means. And then they learn. And they can't stop listening. They taste Ramadan once, and they want it every year. Because Islam doesn't just teach you how to live. It teaches you how to die with meaning. The West is not rejecting God. It's just rediscovering Him. And through Islam, people are learning that faith is not a weakness. It's a strength. That submission is not slavery. It's liberation. That prayer is not a ritual. It's a lifeline. They asked, how can a religion that asks so much of you be so beloved? How can a faith that tells you what to eat, how to speak, how to dress, how to treat your parents, how to use your wealth, how to sleep, even how to enter a room, be so freeing? But the truth is, it's that very guidance that makes Islam irresistible. Because in a chaotic world, structure is a gift. Discipline is a form of love, and submission to the Creator is the only real form of peace. You see, the West promised freedom but delivered emptiness. It offered choices but gave confusion. It told people to follow their hearts, but never taught them how to heal them. And when all of that failed, people began searching, not for more entertainment, but for something eternal, not for another distraction, but for direction. And in their search, they found something no university could teach, no therapist could give, no influencer could sell. Islam. They opened the Qur'an expecting contradictions, but found clarity. They expected fear, but found comfort. They expected oppression, but found honor. They expected rules, but found wisdom. And once they tasted that truth, they realized something deep. The fitra, the natural soul, is Muslim. It always was. It just needed to be reminded. So now, every Friday, more and more people are stepping into mosques for the first time, not as tourists, but as truth seekers. And every day, someone somewhere is standing before Allah and saying, Ashhadu alla ilaha illa Allah, or Ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah, declaring the oneness of God and the finality of His messenger. And in that moment, they're not just changing their religion, they're changing their destiny. Why is Islam the fastest growing religion in the West? Because no matter how far the soul drifts, it always longs to return to its source. Because people are realizing that morality is not a trend, that modesty is not oppression, that worship is not outdated. Because in a world of artificial intelligence and digital lives, Islam brings people back to what's real, back to the earth in sujood, back to the remembrance of death, back to family, back to community, back to God. And make no mistake, this isn't just a rise in numbers, it's a rise in quality. The reverts coming to Islam are not weak, they're courageous. They left behind comfort, relationships, jobs, even their identities. They walk away from years of belief because they found something more powerful. Certainty. Certainty that their soul is finally home, and the strength they carry, the patience they show, is inspiring born Muslims to fall in love with Islam all over again. They don't come to Islam because it's easy. They come because it's right. They don't join the Ummah because they were pressured. They join because the truth left them no other choice. They gave up alcohol not because it was harmful, but because obedience to Allah was sweeter. They left behind dating, not because it lacked pleasure, but because halal love is purer. They wake up at dawn not because it's convenient, but because their soul craves that connection. And what's remarkable is this: while the West is trying to silence God, He's awakening hearts. While materialism tries to own the soul, Islam sets it free. While the world drowns in identity crisis, Islam gives people a name they can be proud of. Servant of Allah. You see it in their eyes. You hear it in their voices. When they talk about Islam, it's not casual. It's passionate. It's not cultural. It's personal. They didn't inherit Islam. They chose it. And that choice came with a price. Some were abandoned by families. Some lost their jobs. Some were ridiculed. But they still stand firm. Because they know what they've found is priceless. It's not just a religion. It's a rebirth. And those who convert are not just embracing rituals. They're stepping into a global family. Suddenly, they have brothers and sisters in every corner of the earth. They feel connected to something eternal. They feel seen by the one who created them. And for many, for the first time in their lives, they feel whole. Islam is growing not because it changed to suit the West, but because it refused to. It didn't bend its morals to fit modernity. It stood its ground. And that boldness is what people respect. That timelessness is what people crave. Because trends come and go. But truth stands forever. Look around. Muslim youth in the West are reclaiming their deen. Women who were once afraid to wear hijab now wear it with pride. Men who once chased the dunya now fill the mosques. Children raised in secular homes are leading their families to Islam. This isn't coincidence. This is divine design, because Allah is guiding whom He wills. And when He guides, no one can misguide. Despair, that's why no amount of media distortion, political pressure, or societal ridicule can stop this wave. Because this isn't man-made. It's God-ordained. And the more Islam is attacked, the more people become curious. The more it's criticized, the more it's studied. The more it's vilified, the more it's vindicated. Not despair, that's the miracle. That's the power of truth. It doesn't need defending. It speaks for itself. And its message is simply there is only one God. Worship Him alone. Follow His messenger. Live with purpose. Die with dignity. And enter the eternal garden. More people in the West are saying, I used to think Islam was extreme, but now I see it's balanced. I used to think Muslims were oppressed, but now I see they're honored. I used to think faith was outdated, but now I see it's the only thing that's timeless. And as the world spins faster and morality slips further, Islam becomes a rock to hold onto, a shelter in the storm, a reminder that no matter how lost you are, you can come back. That no matter what you've done, Allah is most forgiving. That every day is a chance to rewrite your story. That's why it's growing. Because Islam doesn't need marketing. It just needs honesty. It doesn't need influencers. It needs sincerity. It doesn't ask for perfection. It asks for intention. And that message, once heard, echoes through the soul. So in every corner of the West, New York, London, Paris, Berlin, Toronto, hearts are awakening, mosques are expanding, Islamic centers are filled, and the sound of the Qur'an is reaching homes that never imagined they'd hear it. And for those who hear it with sincerity, it changes everything. Headings or transition words are perfect for articles, but for videos, especially emotional or spiritual ones, they disrupt the rhythm. Your scripts are designed to be delivered voice over style, where every sentence flows like a heartbeat, using connecting words like, so, in other words, or, because of this, makes it feel like a school lecture, not a soul-shaking message. I aim for each script to feel like a one-take, heart-to-heart conversation with the soul.